You're listening to the Play It Brave podcast. Join Darcy for a wild rummage around in her wit and wisdom. She's a photographer, an educator, and a marketing ninja. Each week, she's going to be teaching you all about creating a life full of mindset, money, and marketing miracles. Listen to real-world experiences and surefire strategies from expert guests, all to keep you focused on your path to success. Think less hand-holding or fist bumps. So stop playing safe. It's time to start playing it brave. Here's your host, Darcy Benincosa.
Welcome to the Play It Brave podcast, where my special guest is Fallon Carter. Fallon is the owner and planner at Fallon Carter Events, and she also does so many other things working with Wish Upon a Wedding, the Small Wedding Society, and today she is going to help me teach you more about transitioning your business into smaller events, micro weddings, and micro honeymoons, I think is what we do, is a new trend today. So welcome, Fallon, to the Play It Brave podcast. So excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So I want to hear a little bit more about your story. You were, I think, pre-law, or were you already in law school and you decided no and went into New York? You were already in New York and then you decided to do wedding planning. Is that correct? Or tell us how that came about.
Yeah. So after graduation, I moved to DC, and I'm from Maryland. So I went to DC and was working at kind of like an aerospace company for my first job out of college, and was like, I'm going to apply to law school. I was a political science major, and I was like, a law is going to be it. I'm going to change the world. And that's my thing. And one of my high school best friends invites me to her sister's wedding in Paris. And I'm like, sure. I mean, I love France like the rest of us. So I go there and expecting to be a guest, and we fall into troubleshooting after troubleshooting. The bride's wedding dress had been shipped, and it was not what we thought it was when we opened the box.
Oh,
so
no.
We had 5 days to find a new dress, and it was just one thing after the other. So something kind of clicked, and I was like, I like this. I like this level of stress. I like problem solving and troubleshooting and being solution oriented. And I came back. When I came back after the trip, I quit my job and I moved to New York, and that was it.
And the rest is history. You've been published in Vogue, Martha Stewart's Wedding, Brides magazines, so many more. You and I sort of share that. I was pre-law as well. I got an English major, and then I was going to go to law school. I interned at a law firm for a summer and thought, oh, hell no. I realized I just wanted to be an actress that delivered very powerful closing testimonies. And I really didn't want to be dealing with the ins and out of being a lawyer. I think that's amazing, though, because you kind of got thrown into the situation. Paris is such a fun place to sleuth things out and try to create this magical event. And then from there, when you moved to New York, how did you get started? Did you just open a website? Did you start interning for someone? Did you have a mentor? Like, how did you just decide I'm going to open up this event?
I just got, that was back when Wix, I think, was a thing. I got a Wix website and I ordered some cards off of Vistaprint. I made up a random company name, and I was like, I'm going to do it. It's going to be great. I didn't know anyone. And the wedding in Paris was actually the first wedding I'd ever been to in my life.
Oh,
so it's
wow.
like I had nothing to base it off. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know anything about a timeline. I was just like, I can do this. So I took a course that was like 4 weeks. It was like one Monday every week. So I took 4 classes basically and got this certification from some random lady. And that's what taught me like how to build like a design board. And this was all before Pinterest too. So I'm like, man, the life we live now. But I just kind of figured it out. I was at a cocktail party and I told a girl, I was overhearing this girl. She was like, oh, I just got engaged. I was like, this is my chance. So I introduced myself and I told her, I was like, hey, I really want to do your wedding. I think I can do it. No, I know I can. I've never done it before, but trust me. She trusted me. Her wedding was beautiful. She recommended me to a friend. And then that's when I started to learn vendors, and I literally built it from absolutely nothing.
I love that so much. And I love that you overheard someone, that website Overheard in New York. If everybody doesn't know that, it's an amazing website where people type in conversations that they hear on the trains or whatever. But I relate in the fact that a lot of people ask me, Darcy, how do you book weddings? And I remember being at the Moth one day, and it was down in Soho, and they were giving this talks. If anybody doesn't know the Moth, it's a storytelling little convention. And a guy got in there, and instead of telling a story, he proposed. And I watched it all and was like, oh my gosh. And she said yes. And then I went over to them immediately after he got off the stage and was like, I'm a wedding photographer, and I think I should photograph your wedding because you guys are amazing. And I was just trying to get started as well. And that is like, sometimes there's a lot to be said for a little bit of hustle and overhearing things and presenting yourself. And, they did end up going with me, and we, it was magical. It was amazing. And I just think things like that, you never know where they're going to lead to. And that's kind of the New York way, is you're just like, hey, me, I've got the talent. Give me a try. Let's, and you overhear it, and magical things happen. And
you got to knock on that door. It's like,
yeah. Yeah. So you have so much expertise. Of course, all of my photographers listening are going to be like, how do I get event planners to choose me, right? Like how there's so many photographers probably knocking on your door at all times, wanting you to funnel them clients. And then the other thing we really want to talk about, I think, is you really went to town during COVID in the sense that you saw the need, you came up with solutions. I think that's what I'm learning the most about as I get to see your brand and what you're creating. You are very solution oriented in a space where people can get overwhelmed or dramatic or woe is me or what's going to happen. You look at the situation and you think, okay, this is how we're going to solve this. And I feel like you came up with some really beautiful offerings. In fact, if I can brag a little bit, I'm going to pull up the We Do Collective. And can I just read a little bit of your bio? Because I think this is for people to know. So you guys, listen to how Fallon talks about her new venture, which is micro events. So she says, the We Do Collective is a fresh venture by Fallon Carter. With 10 years of destination event experience, Fallon wanted to simplify the planning process for domestic and destination celebrations with the belief that less is more and intimate is ideal. The collective was born. I loved that sentence. Our mission is to keep things simple when you just want to get married. The We Do Collective is a Rolodex of exclusive venues and vendors around the globe that have the perfect offerings for micro and mini life moments. You pick the city, the date, and your desired style. We do the rest, really. And that, to me, you obviously are a very talented writer, because I think that you got the point across in a very clear way that spoke completely to your niche of clients, which everyone in any kind of entrepreneurial business needs to speak directly to their ideal clients. Did you just whip this up, or had you been thinking about it?
To be honest, I threw the website together so quickly because I was like, this needs to go out now. And I needed to create a newsletter and I needed to do all these things. But I wrote it. I've been listening. Most of COVID, I've been in webinars just on like how to write your branding stuff and how to do. So all of it was saying, keep it simple. Speak directly to the person that you're looking for, use keywords, don't try to speak to everyone, be very, very clear. And I literally sat down and typed it, and I was like, oh, I made a few tweaks and edits, but it felt like the first time I had written something, and I was like, I think they get it, I'm going to get it. And that's because these are the people I want to work with. And what's been extremely interesting about destination weddings is really focusing. So, because most of our destination weddings have been smaller. They haven't been like 200 or 300 people. They've all been less than 100 guests. And hearing our couples just talk about, they really just want to get married. I really just want simple. I just kept hearing my couples when I was even writing it. I was like, okay, that's them. I'm talking to them. And I'm so grateful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that we are living through a big transition to weddings. I think we lived through one when digital photography came on the scene, because not as many people were dedicated or diligent or understood enough to invest in learning through film photography, which is all that we had. And digital suddenly made it easy for almost anyone to really pick up a camera and trial and error it a lot easier than film. And so then weddings got really big. We had social media, name brands, influencer type things, the styled flat lays. And now I think we're transitioning again back to something a lot more simple. Okay. And I'm kind of excited for it. I shoot all kinds of weddings. I shoot very intimate things, and I have shot weddings up to 900 people. And I love them all. I feed off of it all. I think they've all got their place, but
yeah,
I love the intimate ones. I love them.
100%. And what I try and tell people is like, there's a feeling that you just can't duplicate, I think, with an intimate occasion or celebration. Mm-hmm. And that almost feels like it's another detail that it will naturally come and we can't make it up. That's my favorite part, is when it's just 30 people or when it's just 50 people, all of the bodies there, all of their names, and you're all sharing and being communal. It's amazing. And it's my favorite thing for sure. And you can get even more elaborate with details and really take care of them and really enhance the guest experience, because sometimes you got the budget to stretch a little bit further with less guests, but
totally. You can kind of up some of the big wow factors. What I love as a photographer when I shoot smaller weddings is I get more time with the bride and groom because they're not being pulled into some cocktail hour where they have to say hello to 300 people.
Yep.
I get more time taking portraits of the parents, of the people that really matter. Those 15 to 30 people there. Like, I do little mini sessions with almost each of them, because I have the time and I can really craft these portraits, and I don't have to go stress and worry about like getting 10 toasts and making sure I get all, just making sure I get a picture of every guest and all the things that I'm always worried about. So what do you feel like? I think everyone in the wedding industry is in this period of transition, and some people I think are a little confused of, how do I market these? How do I, what have you learned in your research and in what you felt called to produce are some things that photographers and other wedding vendors can really learn about doing justice to a micro event? Or I guess even helping, it might almost even be more them helping the people who decide to get a micro event know exactly what that is. Do you have like a guide you give your clients, or how does that work?
Well, it's usually based on guest count for the most part. And your micros are many less than 50 or less than 30. And it's also just based on hours. For the most part, they're all going to be a lot shorter. Or they may have this maybe 6 hours, but at least for this point in time, we're not seeing much dancing just because of COVID. So for the moment, it's like they're all bite-sized concepts. And I would say, if you want to learn more, kind of, that's when we can talk about small wedding society. But I've been telling people, find what fits for you when it comes to guest count, also based on your city at this point, and how many hours you want to work at a venue or work with the couple. But I think for photography, what I've been actually getting a lot of my couples directly from you, because couples are postponing their weddings for next year. And then they're saying, we want to host something small or miniature. And I'm getting calls from photographers saying, hey, can you help me throw together the decor and all of the details? And we're doing it on the steps of Lincoln Center, or we're doing it on the steps of the New York Public Library. Those are smaller elopements. And then finding local restaurants that can accommodate us, or, finding a venue that's willing to allow outside catering for those different types of settings. So every city is extremely different. In New York, I'd say I'm getting a lot, as far as the marketing goes, I've been marketing directly to venues to say, hey, can we work together? Can I bring you onto the We Do Collective? Let's create a package. I go there with a photographer and a florist. We set up something that I kind of like. And then we shoot a sample. And then when it's time to communicate with the couples, we're like, here are 4 venues right now, and here are the date options, here are the time options. But it's kind of doing the back end of working with the venue and working with the other partners that you want to, kind of connect with, identify pricing, what they're comfortable with, and create one flat rate. And that's been extreme. It's like an all-inclusive without being an all-inclusive.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I definitely want to hit on small wedding society, but before we go into that, I wanted to talk a little bit about trying to do 1 or 2 events in a single
Absolutely.
day. That sounds like New York. It sounds like it's super doable. And even, in Utah, anywhere, I think it can be doable. I think one photographer sometimes overgive. So if they say, I'll shoot for 3 or 4 hours, they end up staying 7 or something. So one, I think you must have a pretty clear-cut timing frame with your clients, and you let them know that, like, this micro wedding, you get me for 4 hours. That's it.
Yeah.
Are you pretty strong about that?
Yeah. Well, it's also, if there are other people that are coming behind them, we just have to give time to clean and flip and do that. But yeah, it's like, you get the 2 hours, this is this, and there's a timeline. And we also encourage them to make a reservation for a luncheon or something after the ceremony. So that way they're more likely to
have to go,
because they have a place to go. Exactly. So
I'm loving this idea, because I think a lot of photographers will think, oh, if I go into a smaller thing, that means smaller amount of money coming into my pocket. But you're doing like 2 or 3 events a day sometimes.
Yeah.
And do you use the same florist? Like,
yeah,
do you just flip it?
So we just stage the space, and basically the couple gets to choose the florals, but we'll have like maybe 2 or 3 bouquets. So each bride gets one, or each groom, and walk in, bring your guest. And our elopements, I know an elopement is just 1, but we've been doing or just 2 people. We've been doing it up to 10. So we'll offer a quick champagne toast, and maybe either just a little bite of cake, or just something simple, a quick first dance, and then you're out of there. Not literally, but please leave. And then we flip. The next couple comes in, photographer still staying on, we hand the next bouquet. So it's almost like we're taking City Hall and just elevating it a bit.
Yeah.
And then just doing it New York style. And it's proven to be really, really beneficial and easy. And I can't say that, at first I was like, oh my God, how are we going to make money this season? But it's been great. I no complaints at all. And now we're just ready to launch our destination cities and just waiting for the gates to open.
Well, it's so interesting. I love all of this, and any way that I can help get into any city possible, let me know. But so Fallon is coming to New York City. Well, you're in New York, but you are going to be designing one of the shoots for my New York City workshop next year. Should we just do this elopement? Should we give away an elopement?
100%. I would totally
maybe
do that.
We should just do that and have all the photographers there to photograph that, because that's what I wanted was, a small elopement with like 10 people coming down those steps, having the celebration, getting those beautiful shots. Okay. I see it happening. I think we found
I see it happening too. I'm here for it.
We found the reason
I'm ready
to May next. Well, and that leads me into small wedding society. So will you tell me tell all of us a little bit more about your role in small wedding society?
Sure.
And what that does?
Yeah. So I'm on the board of the Small Wedding Society, and it's basically helpful for either couples that are looking to find vendors to help with their small weddings around the country. And I'm holding down the New York fort, and we've got ladies in different parts of the world, from Minneapolis to the West Coast to Valerie's down in New Orleans. So we're kind of various touch points around the States. And you can come to us either as a vendor as well. Like if you're like, hey, I want to learn about how to either join the society and become a vendor that we showcase to couples. And if you want to also get coaching, we offer that. If you want to just learn, like, what's the price point I should be doing, and all of these other details on how to structure it so that you're getting the most bang for your buck, and that you're also just staying within code for each city. So we're here to help. But we also want to make sure you grow your small wedding business, because we think this is something that's here to stay.
Yeah, it definitely is something here to stay. And I highly encourage, whenever anybody needs mentorship, to go to someone who has worked in the cities, someone who has done the research, someone who has been in the industry for a long time. I love the wedding industry, but I believe that sometimes people who don't know very much start throwing together workshops and giving, wrong information. And I don't want to put down anybody who is following their calling, but I do want to encourage everyone to really research who they learn from. And with Small Wedding Society, one, they could come on and be a vendor. So it's like they will get exclusive rights of, you guys see if they're a good fit for you, and they can get some of those beautiful jobs for people who specifically want small weddings, which I think is a great resource. And two, they can really come on and know. So often people ask me, Darcy, what do I need to know about shooting in Paris? Or what do I need to know about shooting in Italy? And I love that they're asking those questions, because I think too often people are like, I have free reign. I can just go wherever I want. And then they get stuck at Canada. I have heard nightmares of people flying into Canada saying, I'm shooting a wedding. And Canada is just like, no, you're not.
No, you're not.
Send them home. Mexico is the same way. The Bahamas are the same way. You know, there are so many different countries and different rules. And I feel that there's probably very similar misinformation out there about doing weddings in different states, the rules and regulations around small weddings. So that's wonderful that you guys are a resource for that. And you're heading that up. How do you have time? Because you also head up Wish Upon a Wedding.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like, where is my time? I am the naturalist. I'm a busybody. And my friend was like, if you weren't busy, what would you do? I was like, I don't know. I'd probably figure out a way to be busy. So I like this. I like having 3,000 different things to do. And I have a great team behind me. So I'm really grateful that I was able to keep them on even through this. So, but yeah, Wish Upon a Wedding is like, I love them too. So
I want to tell people a little bit more, because one, I think you are an amazing resource, an amazing wealth of information for things that I think people in the wedding industry might not know about. I think people know like Little Black Book with Style Me Pretty, but they've maybe never heard of, Small Wedding Society, which is a very niche thing for people wanting to do small weddings. And maybe they've never heard of Wish Upon a Wedding, which has chapters all over America, I believe. And you head up the New York City chapter. And do you want to explain it?
Sure. So I think we have Chicago and we have New York, but we do weddings everywhere. Okay. And basically Wish Upon a Wedding, we grant weddings and vow renewals to couples that are facing a serious illness or a life-altering circumstance. So I'm the events chair, and our president, Maya, is delicious, and National is phenomenal, and they're based in Chicago. And our mission as the events chair, my job is to do what I do for a living, which is plan events. But the events help raise funds for us to continue to host these weddings for couples. But all of the vendors and the partners that come together to create these weddings are doing them out of the kindness of their heart. We are a nonprofit. So we're able to kind of offer that as a benefit to them when it comes to tax season. But it's amazing to work with these couples they just want to celebrate. And that's also kind of driving mission, just like with the We Do Collective. It's like, people just want to get married sometimes. Like they don't need the stuff. They don't need the lighting. They don't need all of the elements. They just want to be married and celebrate a moment before they're not able to do that anymore. So some of our couples do pass away, and it's sad. And then others are coming to us because they've survived and they want to celebrate and they never had the wedding, or they want to renew their vows. So creating those stories for them is impeccable, and I'm grateful to do it. And if anyone is interested in offering their services, because again, we receive couples that are all over the state. So we'd love to do weddings in different parts. So please email me and just let us know that you're interested, and I'll connect you with National. I'll connect you. If you're New York based, you can work with our team, but would love to utilize you in any way you can if you're interested. But and even if you know a couple that's facing a hardship, we would love to meet with them as well.
And that's what I was going to ask. Do people find you? Do they not? Do other people know you and nominate these couples? Like how do people find you to submit their wish wedding?
I think we're getting a lot from just news and other press points. The New York chapter, we love to try and spread the word, but it's like, who do you call to say, like, do you know anyone that's not feeling very well that wants to get married? Yeah. So it's an interesting request. But yeah, most of the time it actually comes from other couples. We've gotten that. But we're always looking for different ways to reach people that are in the medical arena or that work directly at hospitals, maybe directly with couples or directly with people that are just not, I hate saying like dying, but they're facing a serious illness and they're interested. So if you know a nurse or someone who can help, chirp, chirp, and put it in their ear.
Yeah, I think there is nothing more that helps you, like, I don't know what Steve Jobs always says, but like, there's nothing more that helps you live than realize you might die soon. Like we all are going to, but I think that like weddings are one of those things that you get really clear on what you want in your life, and you get really, hopefully, like when I see weddings coming together, it's this couple who is very clear on what they want out of their life, you know? And I think that what you're doing with Wish Upon a Wedding is just granting that a little sooner. It's granting that easier to people who don't know their outcome immediately, but it's facing them more realistically than it might be facing you or I, you know? And sign me up for that too. We will be putting all of these links in the show notes because a lot of people want to know how to give back. And I think sometimes photographers, especially if they're struggling financially, are like, I don't know how to donate money. But I always tell photographers, anybody in the wedding industry, our talent, what we have is so 100% wanted by so many people. People are dying to have, you know, they're just longing to have those beautiful photo memories. So, okay. So we're going to put the We Do Collective on the show notes. We're going to put Wish Upon a Wedding, and we'll also put Small Wedding Society. On Small Wedding Society, do you have like little mentoring packages, or do you just set up a basic call with somebody so you're basically educating them on how to really target small weddings, book them more, how to have a good turnover, how to still make good money, even if they take on smaller events. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And I love helping people, and I love finding a solution for you. And I think COVID has really pushed us in a new direction, but I think if we accept it and are open to the pivot, I think we're really going to enjoy it, to be honest with you. And because I'm remembering those 12 to 18 hour days where I was on my feet and running from here to there, and figuring out how to simplify that and figuring out how to still make the same amount of money I'm grateful for that opportunity and having the time to do that. So yes, a Small Wedding Society, I can walk you through what I'm doing. And even just from the other members, we have so much information and content to share on how it's working in other parts of the world as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. So we have found out that you are a solution ninja, that you just like know how to do solutions.
Oh my God.
So I love that. I am a big problem solver myself. And it's just like, there's a problem in front of me, I will tackle this. And I think I think it's a beautiful quality. With photographers who may want to work with you, do you just get people emailing you all the time? Because, you know, photographers just want to wow wedding planners like crazy. They want to. What are some of your suggestions of how photographers could approach or work with you? I mean, I think it's a lot relationship, like having a relationship and
100%.
mutually helping each other. You know, I was introduced to your work and saw that you were in New York, and, you know, I didn't have this. I'm never shy to say I would love to work an event with you, but I thought, you know, it would be amazing for us to connect, and I wanted you to come on to the New York City workshop. So that's like how I usually do it. I usually look for wedding planners I'm wanting to get to know and think, how can we do something and create something that's mutually beneficial to both of us? But I would love to know if you have any other insights of how photographers could connect with you to work with you.
Yeah. So like you just said, the connection's huge. So you can slide in my DMs, you can shoot me an email, and I can only speak for myself, but I love hopping on a call. I love hopping on a video call to say, I want to see you. I want to hear you. I want to know if we're going to vibe. And also I want to know what kind of work you want to do. Because sometimes our portfolios are speaking to what exists in our market now. And you're really like, I really want to do an Antelope Canyon shoot. And I'm like, all right, cool. Me too. And you're based in not there. So it's like, I want to get a feel of where you want to go. And if I can help take you there, or if it's like, if our demos are going to be aligned at any point. But it's literally just, I want to talk to you. I want to know who you are as a human, what's important to you, what's not important to you. And if we just click, because I love simplified things. I love everything refined. I love someone I don't need you to bend over backwards, but I just like clarity, and I like pricing. It's like, that just also depends on the client. So it's not like, I don't need you to lower prices. I don't need you to prepackage anything. I just need you to be dope, bring good work, and just be client oriented, and know that you're trying to just service them and make their date super duper extra special. and making sure that you also have a clear mission and vision and philosophy for your business is generally helpful so that I know where you're coming from a little bit.
Yeah, I always say that too. I'm like, the more you know who you are, the more you're able to connect with people who will work better with you. I've had photographers whose brand, at least like their aesthetic does not align with certain planners. And yet they'll be like, I want to work with this planner. And I think, do you not understand this planner? Like take Joy Proctor, for example. Joy's aesthetic is mostly like this beautiful film light. And then I get these heavy digital edited, which is not bad. There are a lot of planners who do that. And they're like, I want to work with Joy. And it's like, but you're not Joy's aesthetic. Like, how did you get there? So it's like, the more you understand and the more you see, this planner portrays a website and a portfolio that looks like what I create. And if it looks, and if you cannot tell that, you've got to look at your brand more. Like if you cannot see the difference between your work and what a planner is presenting, I think there's a lot there, So with you, go ahead.
If I can and if you're looking to pivot, like maybe you're saying you want to get into film or you want to get into that and you're like, Joy is my girl, then it's like, try and touch base and say, hey, I really am trying to pivot in that lane. I'd love and figure out how to get your foot. I don't want to say foot in the door, but figure out how to slide in and say, is there a smaller event that you're hosting that you could trust me with? Or try and do a style shoot so you can try and just get at least the imagery or the new content that you're looking to create if you're trying to move in that vein.
Do you take styled shoots for people? Like if somebody approached you and said, I want you to design this styled shoot so we could see how we work together. Is that something you do, or are you too busy to do things like that? Right now, you're probably very busy.
Right now, yes, but I'd still like a style shoot, depending if that is a case by case basis. I will say it really depends on the destination, and if it's a sick destination that I really want to shoot and we're both on board to do it, I'm like, great, let's go. But if it's like, hey, I'm coming to New York, let's do a shoot. It's like, I've done every wedding in New York about right now. So it's just kind of based on the conversation and what the outcome is for both of us. And if we're like eager to try and get it published, or is there something that we can do to help leverage it? Is it a new venue that's opening up that we both want to be on the list for? Those types of conversations. So it really is just based on how can we leverage it and, build a portfolio together.
Yeah. I think it's exactly what you are so good at. It's solution-based. When you can present a planner or a vendor or someone you want to collaborate with, sort of a solution to something they're wanting. Maybe they absolutely need, not need, but they would love to have a shoot in some other place, or like you said, if they can add that level of newness, offer you something that hasn't been done before. It's hard when you just get offered the same thing again and again and again, which I'm sure, like you said, you're like, my portfolio is full there. I don't need to do it anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. And that's why we're so attracted to destination, is because you get something new almost with every client that knocks on the door. You're like, I wonder where this one's going to go.
Yeah. So there's definite variety in being a wedding photographer, wedding planner. I do love never knowing exactly, what could be coming,
what you're going to get.
Inbox. So I don't want to harp on solutions too much, but I love the idea that, I think 2020 has presented a lot of problems for a lot of people, especially in a destination industry. And the fact that you are so solutions-based, do you have any mindset tricks or anything do you feel like it was just your nature when you were born to just look at things very objectively and then come up with a solution? Or did you have to also process through all your emotions during COVID and then rally and come up with a solution? I'm just curious how your process was with all of that.
I think I was born an optimist. So I've never not thought that I couldn't do something. So when COVID hit, I was not panicked at all, because I'm also an introvert by general nature, and I'm an extrovert on TV. I play one. So being at home I've been grateful for it. And my mindset is always to look at what you can change and try to change it, or leave the situation altogether. But I'm always in a grateful mindset. And what can I honor today as something that's a blessing or something that's good? And every day there's always something. So I'm very big on meditation and really making space in your mind for good things to come. I also don't watch the news. That was also very helpful.
Yeah, I don't either.
And managing my social media usage, and just really monitoring the content that I'm downloading. And that's why travel is so fun to me, is because I find inspiration in being outside and in nature and looking at the Italian Riviera. Like those are like, I want to experience things and feel things and see things that wow my mind.
Yeah.
So those are, COVID did nothing, absolutely nothing. Because the We Do Collective I pseudo started it last year because I was like, I think people are intimidated by destination weddings, and they shouldn't be. Everything is, if you simplify things, it's easily done. I think people get overwhelmed with trying to take their family someplace. Yeah. So I was like, how can I solve that problem? If that's usually the biggest thing, like, how do I get grandma to get a passport to go? It's like, okay, if I focus on making it so that they can go to a site and click, 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 click. At the end of it, they see one flat price and they have a wedding. They can then focus on getting passport for grandma or figuring out the long hauls. And we can even take that on as well. So when COVID hit, I was like, oh, small weddings are now the thing. And that's when I launched and I said, we have to do it domestic first. And that was a natural play. And I was grateful for it.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that you saw it clearly, and you saw it before it even happened, but there is that draw. Like weddings kind of seem to reach this peak of influencer, whatever, influencers, blah, 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 have to have all the name brand stuff. And now I really feel like we're transitioning into these beautiful life moments. So, okay. I had one last question. What do you think the rest of 2020 holds? Do you think it's really just focusing on these intimate events, or anything else that you're implementing in your business to keep you
more busy?
Yeah. What else are you adding to your plate?
I think the rest of 2020 is micro, and definitely elopement and all of that. Even just today, like hearing, spikes are going up. We may have to be closing again. You're like, oh, please don't. Because we're at 10 people. Like, please give me to 25 this week. Yeah. So, but I definitely think that's the rhythm. I think the virtual may take a breath. We may see some more life there. We've been working with couples to kind of even send just small trinkets and boxes and packaging those concepts together. But I virtual elopements and your micros are definitely hitting the scene, and I'm grateful for it. I think people are focusing on only the things that they need. Like COVID said, think about the essentials. Yeah. Now it's making you think about what are the essential details for your wedding. Yeah. And it's your family and your love and some good food too.
Yeah. I agree. I think that it's given us all a time to reflect about what is most essential in running our businesses. How do we need to restructure pricing? How can we take on smaller events? All the things covered today were absolutely perfect. We're going to link to everything. And if any of you want more information on how to join the Small Wedding Society, how to donate to Wish Upon a Wedding, how to hire Fallon for your events or collaborate with her, if you want to come join us in New York City in May 2021 for beautiful shoots, elopements, Fallon will be diving deep even more into teaching us, those who attend, really diving into how to restructure some of your wedding business to specialize, still make good money in micro and mini events, which is one of your talents. And what we really come away with is just how to be a problem solver, and really, when big things are thrown at us, how to keep pivoting and creating and finding the answers that work most for letting your business thrive, because I think it still totally can.
I agree. Take it one step at a time and don't get overwhelmed. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for all your wisdom. I know it comes out as seemingly so easy, but I know you have had, over 10 years of just really, really honing in who you are, what you offer, writing beautiful copy on your website. It shows me that you obviously you are a prime example of somebody who knows their business model and and most of all knows how to serve their clients by solving problems and really delivering them that beautiful experience that they want. So thank you for joining us on the Play It Brave podcast today. It was a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
You've been listening to the Play It Brave podcast. Love what you heard? Wonderful. You can shout about it in the reviews. I bet you know someone who needs a shot of self-belief. Then don't keep us a secret. If you've missed something crucial, we've got show notes for this and all past episodes over at darcybenincosa.com/Play It Brave. Thanks for tuning in, but don't forget, the world teaches you to play it safe. Stand up, stand out, and start playing it brave.